So we have the saddle, and then we have the croup. We're going to start with the saddle, putting it on here. And I like to do it from the left side, most people do. So we're going to take that long side. We've got this clip here. We're going to place it over the withers. We're going to reposition them. Starting to walk off a little bit. Reach under and bring it over. Now we've got our belly girth. We're going to bring it up. I'm not going to cinch it on him just yet. So he's still got plenty of breathing room. I don't want to make it while he's uncomfortable doing everything else. Now we're going to take this strap. We're going to feed it through here. You see it has this one hole that's all the way back there. For the time being, before we go to fit everything, we're just going to place it here, and then I can change the length of everything later. The crooper is going to come up here under his tail, place it. And because it's a new harness, the holes haven't quite been worn out yet. So you can see that's real loose, all that slack in there. So I can come back here. Pull this up till it's sitting in there without pinching any of his hairs. Gonna pull all his hairs in his tail up. Pull that. I'll hold that there. And so I will need to put another hole about right there. And that leather is soft enough that I can see where the pin is sticking up. I'm just gonna make a little mark in there so I can come back with the hole punch later. He's still a little short. He's breathed out a little bit, so I can come tighten it up some more. And I'm just gonna keep, because I'm still introducing them to the harness, I'm not gonna just cinch it up and make that early time. I'm not gonna make it painful and uncomfortable for him. I'm just, as he breathes out and gets comfortable, I'll tighten it up and go on. So the next piece that we have is gonna be the breeching. This is what is essentially our brakes for driving. And again, because it's new, nothing's been fit to them, all fresh holes. We're going to take this side. I've already connected over here to his left. And we're going to run it through the back strap. There's a little hole right here in the harness. We're going to run it right through here. Pull it to about centered. And then I'm going to bring this over to the other side. Make sure it's not up on his tail. And then I'm going to run this clip through. I started that side on the lowest side. I can see it's going to be too long if I do it like that. So over here I've placed it on that top hole. I'm going to walk back over here. And I'm just going to keep making adjustments until I get it to the right spot. I might have to punch more holes in it to make it even shorter. He's still got a pretty weird body shape. He's about 4.5, 5 years old. We're not 100% sure, and the person that sold it to me may not have known exactly when he was born either. But you can see right here that actually, once we've got that strap up, that looks like it actually, I can come down a hole. The good thing about these short ponies is you can reach right over them. It's a little bit harder to reach over a big old 17-hand draft horse. Hip strap. And so you don't want to prevent movement. You don't want it pushing on them right here. And you don't want it pushing right here at the back of their leg either. When the weight of the carriage is pushing, it's right here at the back of the muscle, but it's not all the right way up here either. And it hits this point on their hips. And then for the time being, I'm gonna take this hold back and just tie it up so it's not flapping around. And I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side, just to prevent it from flapping around. But the holdbacks that I just tied up connect to the shafts up the cart, and that's what acts as the brake. When he stops, the holdbacks, the carriage will keep rolling and push into him, and then he'll actually stop, and when the breeching hits it, that's what stops the carriage. Some carriages also have brake systems on them, but most of those brake systems are not going to stop a horse. You've got to get the horse to do the stopping. The horse can go straight through those brake systems. So the brakes are not for stopping. So we push things because we're able to get better traction and momentum behind it than when we're trying to pull things and we're having our arms twisted back. So when you hear of a person saying the horse is pulling a carriage, just think about it. They're not tying the carriage to their tail and trying to move up like that. They're leaning into it and they push just like when you have a shopping cart or a lawnmower. So to put this on, I've already put it on him that one day, and so it's pretty well close to fit. We're gonna pick his head up here so I can get this on. I know. I'm stopping you from eating for 2 seconds. And he's just gonna let me put that on there. He wants to go back to eating. All right, pick your head up, buddy. So we could have him tied up. I don't see any need for it when he's first learning. He can always learn to not eat while he's doing it, but anything that kind of prevents him from being worried about something. There's not anything different happening. I'm just out here messing with them like I mess with them about everything else. There's nothing particularly surprising about it. I'm gonna pull these traces up so that I can bring them through the tugs, and I'll place them right over the back strap. Same with this side, through the tug, over the back strap. We don't want him stepping on things. And if we pick his head up again and ask him to stand square. I know, we're not eating right now. Let's come over here so they can see. You can see this sits on his neck and how it's pointed up like this. So that means we actually need to lower it a little bit. Sorry, Sarah. I'm gonna lower it on both sides. Again, we're gonna be here for a while as everything gets set and put in the right places for them. So I don't mind letting him eat in between things when I don't need him square. If I pull back, that's my foot, buddy. Thank you. If I ask Sarah to be a superhero and hold his head up while she's holding the camera, I'll be able to come back here, pull these back out, and the cart should actually come up right behind them. Whoa. And so if Sarah can tell me with these traces, hold straight back if where that harness is sitting, the collar is sitting. No, we need you to walk up. Whoa. So from where it's sitting, when we actually walk them, it looks like it's hitting him right here in that chest on the shoulder. So we'll actually need to lower it just a little bit to keep it from hitting this bone right here when he stands up. Okay, so the next piece that we have is the bridle. I think most people are pretty familiar with bridles, but that's what is going to connect the bit to his mouth, to the reins, to me. On a cart, we have a little bit fewer ways to communicate than you do when you're actually riding a horse. For example, we don't have our legs, so we use our voice, our hands, and there's also whips available. You can see this one is a driving bridle specifically. It has the blinker or the blinder, depending on what side of the world you come from. And then it also has a noseband and a throat latch, just like the bridle that you would use when you're riding. And then I'm using an O-ring snaffle bit. He has had this bit in his mouth before, so he is familiar with the bit. He has not worn this bridle. Something else that they have on these driving bridles is what's called a check rein that connects the bit up here to the saddle. And what that does is it holds their head up off the ground. I don't particularly like to use check reins unless I have to. I try to avoid using it so the horse can have its head. You see, I like to let the horse have a lot of options. As long as they're responding to me when I request a response from them, I try to otherwise let them just be a horse and do what they're gonna do. So we are gonna take him away from eating for a little bit. The poor guy. I'm gonna have to stop eating for a little bit. We're gonna pick his head up. I know. I didn't let you eat for a little bit. And he's seen the bridle before, he knows. Just moving with them. And I'm just gonna hold it there till he gets a little bit used to it. And I'm gonna fold his ear in and through here. And then fold his ear in and through here. We're gonna come down here and look to see where it's at. See where it sits in his mouth. I don't know if y'all can see that or not. As soon as he quits chomping on it, we'll be able to see a little bit better. So it is a little bit low in his mouth. So we are gonna come up over here. Bring it up. Same thing over here. Just up a hole on each side. Until we have, I know. If you look, you can see the two folds in his mouth, 1 and 2. And then we're gonna bring the throat latch from over here over to this side, slide it up, place it in there. You'd be able to get your whole fist into that throat latch. He's a little bit smaller, so but it's not choking him. Even all the way back here, 3 fingers is plenty good in there. I can get my whole fist in there pretty easy. I also don't want him to just be able to pull his bridle off. And then that nose bend just isn't gonna fit over the halter like this. So the next time I do it, I'll do it without the halter and I'll be able to close that nose band up. Nee, we're still working, buddy. Come on. Thank you. So the next piece that we have in the last part when you're putting a harness on a horse is we do have the reins. We've got a left and a right driving rein. You notice they are a lot longer than what you'd be using when you actually ride. It's the last piece that you actually want to connect when you're talking about the harness. And for his, he doesn't have any hip strap turrets. So we're only going to come through 1 and 2. And we're going to pull them and place them right there, so that he's not stepping on those. Then we've got our right rein that we are going to clip on to the right side of the bit, and then the left rein to the left side of the bit. And then I'm going to take the reins. And one thing that I will probably eventually do is place buckles. I like for my driving reins to connect right here at a buckle, and these don't. Nee? Whoa. Good boy, Nee. Thank you. You see, I have a lot of slack in the reins, and for now, we're gonna go ahead and start taking pieces apart. Those are some of the different parts of the harness, and a little bit on how they actually work. But you can see this is only his second time to wear the harness. It's his first time having all of it tacked up onto him at once. So the next piece that we'll actually add to it is going to be the cart that I'm working on currently. In the meantime, I'm also going to be doing ground driving with him to teach him how to ground drive. So we'll work on that in the future. But today, I'm glad that he accepted all of the tack, his new bridle. He doesn't seem terribly upset that he's not able to see back behind him, even though I'm back here talking and making noise, and I'm messing with the reins, kind of wiggling them around. Good boy. So we'll go ahead and end it there. Thank you for watching. So,
unless you do Western Pleasure.
they're a lot longer than what you'd be using if you're riding. So